Hey, folks. I want to talk about emotional intelligence today, as briefly as I can without making this an extremely long-winded video. So let's get started. So emotional intelligence is kind of more recent than not. Basically refers to a gap in awareness of how emotions affect leadership. All right. So back in my day, you'd often have certain arrogance about leadership, certain leaders that would go off on tangents about certain topics. And, there's good and bad in all of that. All right. The good is the passion means they care. The bad can be that it becomes more about the leader or the soldier than the standard or the topic at hand or the point, such as emotional intelligence, of this discussion. So anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person to the right degree at the right time for the right purpose and the right way, this is not easy. That's according to Aristotle. All right, now that goes way back in time, right? But the military is trying to tie that into making us better leaders and to not let those sometimes hypocritical emotions run and guide us, all right, by sticking to the facts. And this ties into exercise in mission command, which is exercising empowerment, empathy, all those types of things. Assigning your soldier a task and then stepping back and watching it play out, watching them conduct the task in their own way versus guiding or micromanaging them. That can turn into micromanaging um, as a leader. All right, so that's kind of what part of what mission command is. It's just largely being empowered. Okay, so it's often also been said, think about what needs to be said, when to say it. You know, does it need to be said by me and right now? Okay, so think about those things. Now, I am a fan personally of, if it needs to be said, don't delay too much and say it. Okay, um, but just understand that words have meaning. The way things are said has meaning, and can play out in a multitude of ways. All right. I encourage you to also read the book, listen to the book, Wired This Way by Marita Latterer. Okay. I've been listening to that one. It's a good one. Go take the Myers-Briggs personality assessment or something similar to that. There's other, if it's going to cost money, don't do it. Okay. There's free versions of personality tests out there. That will help you understand not only yourself, but those that you find yourselves around, and to quickly assess what their personalities are about. Are they more about things or people? Okay, just as an example. If they're more about people, then you know you may be able to let your emotions fly a little bit more. But if they're more about getting to the point in things, you've really got to guide and manage your emotions. All right, and this can play out. This can play heavily into politics. All right. So some other things about emotional intelligence are, well, first of all, you know what? Let me back up. This is a 44 slide deck. Okay. Um, as future leaders, an inability to be self-aware, socially aware, manage your emotions, and manage your relationships will significantly influence their ability as a leader to lead, build cohesive teams, and execute mission command philosophy. The gap in awareness has the potential of negatively impacting morale, relationship building, cohesiveness, leadership, and decision making. All right, so let's say a topic is brought up like IDT travel, okay? And you basically, there's a lack of funding, or there seems to be a funding issue going on. So you say, well, it's a benefit. It's not a requirement. It's not an entitlement. Okay. And you basically relate that to the time you didn't get it, or it didn't exist, or you got screwed somehow out of that benefit. All right. I want you to think about this. What are the partnering commands experiencing regarding this topic? Is it really a funding issue abroad, or is it just somebody not knowing how to properly disperse the funds in your command? All right. So, because here's the thing: if you tell a soldier, well, you're just shit out of luck, okay? Is that going to hold up in court? Is that going to hold up if, you know, through legal, right? Through the budgeting system, all of that. Is that the final answer? Ensure that it is. Ensure that it is. So this could weigh into emotional intelligence. You're acting off emotions versus what is concrete, what is in writing, sticking to the facts, okay? Now, who does this get brought up in front of? Probably your commander. Can your commander fix it? Maybe. Maybe they lack the knowledge and tools to do so. So then who might you want to go to with it? The staff channels, okay? You could start with your S3. S3s dangerously know about money. That's about it, okay? So you just keep trying different avenues to get to the right answer, okay? Now you can start out telling the soldier, hey, yeah, it's a benefit. You have to, soldiers have to understand that they have to report regardless. It's not an excuse out of reporting to battle assembly. But be careful about telling them, it's just definitely optional, and then doing nothing about it. You need to do something about it. You need to look into it. All right. So this is my example to you of, guiding emotions versus facts and reality. Okay, in your style of leadership. Like I said, back in the day, we used to just let it fly, and that could even be more an infantry thing. I don't know. All right. But I've definitely opened my eyes and my mind, or tried to different opposing views and different ways of getting after this. Always consider your audience. Always consider your audience with what you're talking about. It's easy to get caught up and float off on a tangent. All right, so MRT, Master Resiliency Training. Okay. Emotional intelligence, or personal intelligence, is tied to social intelligence. Being aware of the motives and feelings of other people and oneself. Knowing what to do to fit in different social situations. Knowing what makes other people tick. Okay? There's a lot of stuff just said right there. And a lot of things are easier said than done. Always, right? Often. Easier said than done. Now, a great example of emotional intelligence, and I'm not asking you to be New England Patriot fans, even though I am one, but if you pay attention to interviews by like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, they really are good at exercising emotional intelligence, all right, in their response to media. If you notice, just take a gander at some post-game interviews. It doesn't take long. They're like 5 minutes long. And that's what we can gain from them, okay? Like such as when Tom Brady was recently asked about retiring following his playoff loss. He's like, man, I'm not thinking past 5 minutes right now, okay? So, very good answer. It's a very good way for him to respond to the media He may know his answer. He may know that he's going to retire, but he's going to play it out. He's going to articulate. He's going to come back with an articulative version, okay, of a response later at a later time. And he can do that. He has the right to do so. All right. So be careful how you respond to things. And that's one thing I learned too as a sergeant major a lot. You know, it's easy for soldiers to bring things to you just to see how you act, how you respond. They may know the answer. They may just want to test you. All right. And it may not just be a sergeant major thing. It could be any leadership level. It could be testing you. So think about your response to every situation, really. Now, there's going to be heat of the battle moments. There always are, where you lose it a little bit and you don't have time. You lack time and patience. And I think that's fully understandable. That's just human. That's just part of our human element as to who we are. Okay? All right, so intrinsic motivation. That's part of like knowing yourself and internally what makes us tick. Okay? Doing of an activity for its intrinsic or inherent satisfaction rather than for some separable consequence. Okay? So think about that too. You know, you may be motivated to act for the fun of the challenge, excuse me, or the challenge entailed rather than because of external products, pressures, or rewards. All right. I'm trying to think of an example of that right now. I mean, it could be you just have fun with a topic versus, you know, really dissecting and getting after it in a more serious or critical thinking way, if that makes sense. All right, I hope that makes sense. So, emotional intelligence. Again, it's become a hot topic. You know, there's times we sit in a class or an open forum and we think, you know, I can talk about anything. But can you really talk about anything? And I will tell you from personal experience, the answer is no. You can't just say anything and in any way. I mean, you can because we have free speech, but understand your audience. And while you may think you're among others that think alike and that are as passionate as you are, or agree the way you do, or analyze a topic the way you do, they just assume they may not, or even often don't. Okay? So just think about that. And I go back to the IDT travel. Who are you bringing it up to and why? All right? Is your commander going to know all the answers? I'd assume not. Is the S3 going to know all the answers? I'd assume not. Okay? The S1? I'd assume not, because look, the S1 doesn't manage money. How about the S4? To a point, they'll know. But where's the money come from? The 8. Typically, the 8 is at the division or higher level. So you have to get in touch with whoever can get in touch with that G8 over the money. All right? And if they come back and say there's a lack of funds, there's no money, you need to ask why. You need a very detailed, great explanation as to why. Because if that soldier goes third party is going to dive in, investigate, and then they're going to likely come out with a book answer. All right? Because all of these benefits, okay, entitlements, whatever, they're tied to recruiting and retention and numbers and strength. All right? They're tied to people first strategy. Okay? So think about all those things with that topic. All right? Another topic might be weapons qualification. All right, there's a new weapons qualification out there. And you can't just fire on paper targets anymore the way you used to. All right. There's certain cyclic requirements of a weapons qualification depending on what kind of unit you're assigned to. If you're assigned to like a TRADOC type unit, you don't necessarily have to qualify every year. All right. There's some misconceptions about this out there. Then, of course, the question comes up, well, what about promotions? What about junior promotions? If, a soldier has to qualify every 2 years for the junior promotion. That is still a thing. Unless it's changed and I don't realize it. All right. What's my point? Be careful about your emotional intelligence with these topics. It's very easy to get off on a tangent because back in the day, Specialist Brownback was required to go out of his way to go to a range to qualify, even though he had a qualification that was well within 2 years, because the leadership said it needed to be within a year. And later I found out that was not true. You see what I'm saying? So that's where we have to be careful. Let's see here. Emotions are lower level responses occurring in the subcortical regions of the brain. The amygdala and the ventromedial prefrontal cortices, creating biochemical reactions in your body, altering your physical state. Feelings originate in the neocortical regions of the brain, are mental associations and reactions to emotions, and are subjective, being influenced by personal experience, beliefs, and memories. A feeling is the mental portrayal of what is going on in your body. When you have an emotion, and is the byproduct of your brain perceiving and assigning meaning to the emotion. Feelings are the next thing that happens after having an emotion, involve cognitive input, usually subconscious, and cannot be measured precisely. All right? So you got to manage your feelings. You got to manage your emotions. All of these things, and stick to the topics at hand. Be able to have an objective view of a topic. All right, so here, according to Elliot Richardson, in management, 2% of the problem is making a decision. 98% is persuading others to accept the decision. All right, I'd say that's pretty accurate. That is pretty accurate. All right, folks, that's kind of concludes this topic, emotional intelligence. Again, don't use it as a crutch or an excuse to make a decision, but do use it as a tool or a thought when time is allowed to apply critical thinking and make the best decision possible on difficult topics. Have a good day.